me tablet's decided to update, and it's been doing it for about a half hour, just when you need it. It's the happy days. Okay, as the thing says on the top there, recording has started, so welcome to the Community Resilience Forum. Today's topic is wellbeing and mental health. Who fancies a presentation? Cool, don't all shout at once. There we go.
Go on then.
Go on then. This is where you get everybody to see. Here we go. Okay. Super stuff. So can you all see that? I can see it. Basically, welcome to Wellingborough Community Resilience Forum. We've said that bit. And this is the agenda for today. So we've done our welcome. It's taken us 14 minutes rather than 10, but that's probably my fault. And we've just done the introduction. So actually, we're bang on time. So here is the presentation for you. Got a few slides to talk you through. Wellbeing and mental health can be described in many sorts of ways. Because I am representing the co-op, and I think that it explains it quite well. That's the way that I've decided to try and do this presentation for you. So, mental health. 1 in 4 of us will experience a mental health problem in any given year. That's 25% of us, or about 14 million people in the UK, and possibly somebody in every family, workplace and friendship group. And that's why the co-op have talked to people all across the UK to find out what matters to them most. So this is a community resilience forum, so we're going to try and talk about community well-being. So what's important to people? Has anybody got any ideas? Do shout out.
You say what's important, Jonathan. What's important regarding which bit?
Any of it. Any of it. What do you think matters to people, and what is important for their well-being?
Okay, I think for me, I think the sense of a belonging and knowing value and your purpose, I suppose, is key. I think what we hear in the business community is people like to know that they're engaged in activities and they're not alone. And I think that's the critical service that we're offering at the moment amongst the business community.
Fair enough. Would anybody else like to add a comment?
Yeah, I agree with Simon on that one. I feel it's just people knowing that there is options out there, there's support out there. They're not the only one that think and feels that way. There's a big, obviously, publicity now around men as well, between particular ages that have been struggling with mental health and well-being for years, and now it's all starting sort of to come out in the open about people being able to talk, really, and all these kind of public events people having about talking much more about the situation. So I think it's just a case of knowing who's out there, who they can get support from for whatever their problem or their issue is, and knowing that they're not alone, very much like Simon said.
Definitely, I totally agree with that.
From our point of view at Glamis, we've found that when we've got a new client that comes to us and they're referred because they have, I don't know, they're lonely, they're scared, they're anxious, they suffer with anxiety of going out and being around people. They might not be eating properly because they're at home on their own and they're not socialising, and their mental health does decline. And we saw it quite dramatically during COVID. But once we've got the clients back here and they're interacting and they've got people just to sit and chat to, I mean, no deep and meaningful conversations, it might just be sitting and playing a game of Scrabble, but that really tends to help their mental health in that they're seeing people and being around people rather than sitting in their own heads.
Okay. So what sort of things in the community specifically do you think people would benefit from? If you can imagine sort of a community of things that people could have, what do you think they could be? I can click a button and give you some ideas if you like.
I think the one from me, Jonathan, I would say, yeah, the quality of education and the housing affordability and public transport. No, I'm just reading down your slide now.
I think I'll go back. You can't do that. There you go. It's gone.
Without a doubt, it's all about, as I said, you know, I think being part of something, but also recognising as well that people have different levels of concerns, worries, strains, stress, and that should be recognised. The fact that everyone does have different levels of this problem that's out there, that's growing, that's escalating, and you know, I think the biggest problem isn't around the mental health itself. It's about the confidence to speak about it. I think that's the biggest issue. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Has anybody
with the public transport issue that you've got on there? I know that affects a lot of people, certainly living on the Kingsway where I live, because there are no bus services at all from the Kingsway area. We've got some of our volunteers, they're all retired people and they want to go out and about and do things, live on their own, don't drive, got a mobility scooter, but can't necessarily get everywhere on a mobility scooter. And during the last election, we were told that there was a guarantee that there was buses coming back to the estate, and we still haven't got anything. And I know that makes people feel very isolated on the estate.
I remember blocking a road by the bus station for Kingsway buses. I've forgotten the number of the bus now, but there was me and about 40 people north of about 80. So I did stick out with me and Billy, I think it was. But yeah, it's a shock, really, isn't it? It's like an ideal area for a bus, and I'm not saying that, but you'd expect there to be people there of a certain age. And
we've still got all the bus stops. We've just not got any of the buses.
So did they give you any reason why?
It wasn't used enough.
Oh, right. Well, you're not going to be able to remedy that if it's not there, though, are you? That's the trouble.
No.
That's one of those, isn't it? But they are thinking about sort of bringing stuff back, but as and when that happens. So shall we move on? Okay, this is what the co-op thinks community wellbeing consists of. So I think we've touched on a lot of these things. So what they've done is put it into 3 categories and then had 3 subjects in each of the 3 categories. So for instance, people, we talked a lot about people, education and learning, health, economy, place, culture, heritage and leisure, transport, mobility, we've just talked about mobility, housing, of course, something in Wellingborough that keeps on coming up, of course, and relationships. I think Simon might have touched on the fact that people don't feel that they've got somebody to talk to. I know Joe did with people coming back from COVID. Equality is a big one. Nobody's mentioned equality. And of course, the old one about sort of participation in politics and having a voice in your community. So let's just go into that a little bit more. So people, education and learning is all about the availability of good, accessible and affordable services to help all ages make the most of education and learning opportunities. Does anybody want to sort of talk about that at all? I know sort of we have Kim here, which I'm trying to give you an opportunity, Kim, because I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I just want everyone to be able to speak. I mean, just not go on all day. Yeah, so for me, obviously, I'm focusing more educating children, literally, you know, toddlers upwards. But I understand, you know, this affects everyone, but it is that knock-on effect. So obviously what I'm doing is helping the youth, really. It's kind of prevention is better than cure, because we know obviously what has, you know, how the pandemic has affected all of us. You know, we can't undo that, so we're trying to cope the best we can, but getting back, you know, into the community and me helping and showing younger generations actually with families and their parents. So it might even be the fact of, I have a lot of parents coming to me saying, my child's just so angry all the time, you know, what can I do? And yes, I do vouch for, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a child psychologist, any of those things, but I do have tips and tools that I can show you to help. And if you do this on a daily basis, you know, and it's all about habit forming. You know, we all have good habits and we all have bad habits, but if we can build these habits, as you know, as simple as cleaning our teeth on a daily basis twice a day, it might be the fact of, you know, finding that 5 minutes of a meditation, which can be seen in all various ways. You know, I've not got to sit on the edge of a cliff and look over an ocean sort of for an hour. It can literally be just 5 minutes sitting in the garden, you know, with a child, listen, like, what can we see, what can we hear, what can we taste, what can we touch, and just bringing that child and that stress level just down in that situation, and just really simple things, bringing everything back to basics, really. So for me, it's about supporting young children and families and helping them how we can, you know, educate them of these tools and these mindset techniques that we use, and that are very practical, they're very easy to use, and wanting to share that with everyone, because I do this as an adult. So basically it's a child's version of what I do every morning, 6 till 6:30. I'm involved with an adult group, and it's literally my workout for the brain, my gym workout for my brain, and it just helps you keep topped up. We're all human at the end of the day, you know, we all have our wobbles, our bad days, our good days, but it's education is so important, because, you know, I've experienced, just from the short amount of time I've been involved with this, children saying to me, wow, my child, you know, was really struggling with this, and now, you know, yesterday, for instance, one of my parents said, oh, my daughter was really struggling with her sister, she was really frustrating her, so she actually just took herself off 5 minutes, sat, closed her eyes, and listened to one of the meditations we use, and come back in. She was a completely different person, and she just did that herself, and she's 6 years old. I'm like, wow, so she's learning these skills already. So for me, yeah, I'm hugely passionate about it, and making it affordable, obviously, yes, of course, that's another thing. So this is why I am keen, as it is a business and I do have fees to pay as a franchise. I would love to do this free for everyone, but we all have to earn a living. So with schools, like, if there's a way of subsidising for the children to get involved, I know there's various grants coming down from the government post-COVID and things like that as well, but getting into the community is really important for me. So I want everyone to be able to access this as much as they can. So where there is any help with funding or, you know, subsidising, is somewhere that I'm looking for help, really, as well.
Fabulous, thank you for that. Sophie's had her hand up for absolutely ages, bless her. Are you there, Sophie? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Sorry, yes, I'm on my phone and it's really difficult. When I push a button, it falls over and so yes, I just wanted to really, I suppose, highlight where the library can be supportive in the aspect of education and learning, and the resource that's available here locally. And I think linking into something that I think it was Kim who was speaking just a moment ago, in terms of our support for young people at the moment with exams and studying, we have a lot of resources here. We have a lot of space where people can come for quiet, to be studying, to get away from the hustle and bustle of family life, I suppose, to come and study. We also have study resources that we offer to young people who are at the moment studying. So a trolley of things to relax, in terms of little puzzles, dot-to-dots, books to look at their well-being, so breathing exercises. There's quite a lot already here that if people don't know about it, obviously they can't access it. So we wheel that trolley all around the library when young people come in. And then having groups for parents with young children is something else that we pride ourselves on here. We have activities going on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, and some weekends. And then, of course, for parents or for adults, we've got the ability to link in with local organisations for job searching. And also, before you're job searching, it's looking at how you can support your own mental well-being and preparation for applying for jobs, even looking for jobs. And again, we link in with local organisations who use our space here to support people with that. Somebody mentioned loneliness, and we've got an activity during Loneliness Awareness Week where one of our staff members is leading an afternoon tea on the 13th of June to offer people the opportunity just to come into the library to speak with a couple of organisations or just speak with other people during that week as with regard to raising awareness. So I think what I want to demonstrate is that the library is a space where things are happening, but also is a possible space for more to happen. For that collaborative working. And I also think as a hub for providing information about what's going on. We have so many people come into the library and ask so many questions about all sorts of things going on. So if you have got things going on, again, it's a good idea to link in with this space as a way to, I think, promote what's going on locally. And that's me.
Thank you, Sophie. That was more than I thought. We have got Jo with her hand up too.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. Sophie, I've got one of your posters up here so that it's on our notice board for the Loneliness Week. Kim, what's
Brilliant.
the upper age that you work with?
End of primary school, so 11 years.
Okay, I've got a football group that may benefit from linking with you through Northampton Town Football Club. I'm not sure how. I think some of them might be sort of 15, 16. And also Made with Many have funding for running sessions if you've not applied for anything done for them.
Right, I did. I think I contacted them a while ago, but they said they were Corby based. Is that right?
No, there's a Wellingborough one.
Okay, thank you.
They were originally made in Corby, then it was made in Kettering, made in Wellingborough, made in Northampton, and now it's just Made with Many. I'll email you a contact.
Oh, great.
If you want to connect with her, she should be. She's one of the people that keeps on promising to come to this. Her name's Merle.
Merle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got Sarah's contact details.
Okay. So let's move on. I think everybody's got their hand up. Cool. Health is obviously a big one. Access to good quality public, voluntary and social care services, adult social care in the case of Glamis Hall, of course, that promote physical and mental health in the community. Anybody got their hand up or want to comment on that? Or should we flick through? I think we've covered that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judy, go on. I can't see because you've not got your picture up.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, no, I just wanted to comment that about the eco group, and I mean, obviously, you know about it yourself, but the WCAP session last night about energy, and you know, we had a very good session run by Marion Turner Hawes, and obviously Jonathan helped about sort of being able to read your energy bills and you know, all about energy really. And it was very sort of good in that it simplified things, how to read your electricity bill and your gas bill and what it all means. And I mean, the problem that I felt with it was that it was really preaching to the converted, that everyone there probably knew how to read their bills. And but I think it would have been very helpful for a lot of people, sort of from a mental health point of view, you know, anyone that's struggling, you know, could do with coming to something like that. And yet somehow we don't seem to be able to get to the right audience. So if anyone sort of has people that are struggling with energy bills and that sort of thing, you know, please do sort of point them in the direction of Wellingborough Climate Action Project.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, on that, last week's workshop was about energy basics. That recording is actually on the WCAP Wellingborough Climate Action Project website. The address is wcap.org.uk/video. Quite simple because we like to keep things simple. And the one from last night will be on there as soon as I put it on there, basically. So that will be on there over this weekend for you. Alongside that, we've got something called Energy Savers, which is a fairly It's a good source of information for anybody who'd like to know anything about energy, basically, and that's Energy Savers, all one word, .org.uk, because all of our things seem to end .org.uk, which is pretty cool. Anyway, moving on, unless I've missed a hand up. No. Economy, work and employment, services and infrastructure in place to promote a sustainable, ethical, inclusive economy that meets the needs of local people. Sounds like your bag, that one, Simon, but
yeah, funny enough, I thought you might say that. I mean, we've got 21 events that we've organised as part of today's session, actually, across the next 3 months of bringing people together to actually understand the needs they're looking for, how we can help plug those gaps, connect people up with those that need to be connected up. What I'm particularly conscious of at the moment is any employers coming into the area, or some of the larger companies that have got employment opportunities. Not everybody hears of it via the various services that are out there. So we're trying to sort of fill that gap as well and engage with the larger companies that have got employment opportunities to help, obviously, bring employment through for people, especially with the Ukrainian situation as well. So, if you do know people out of work that are looking for employment, I'm not a recruitment company at the end of the day, and I'm not a CV writer or anything like this, but obviously I'm aware of where job fairs and that are taking place. So, but again, I just think it's a key thing that we're offering in the community for businesses to keep them moving, because they are feeling the challenge out there, especially with the increase on the energy prices and interest rates and all the doom and gloom we read in the press. So we just got to keep at it. But I think we're plugging those gaps and putting smiles on faces along the way as well. So
definitely. Did you say all that information was on your website?
Yeah, we've got loads of information. I'll put some information in the chat for you in a minute. But yeah, I mean, we're constantly looking at events, and also I think the thing is as well with businesses to recognise that it's not all about the business. We've actually launched a social event as well for people. So we're looking at the social side of business, because business will take place whether people want to do it in a meeting or in the bar or in the pub or out for a curry or whatever. So we are looking at trying to fill some of the gaps for social isolation amongst the business community as well as go out and have a good time. And ultimately, we all deserve to let a hair down occasionally. So we'll be pushing those over the next quarter as well.
Definitely. Sounds like a wealth of information. Perhaps if you wanted us to, we could add that to our website, or at least a link from our website so that people can find you. Our website, for those that don't know, is wellingborough.org. And also, I don't know, there are a couple of people on here that might not be on our email chats or WhatsApps. I know Simon's particularly fond of sharing sort of lots of information, lots of really information on our WhatsApp group. So do let me know if you wanted to join the WhatsApp chat. It's just to share information and to get people sort of talking, and same as the email list as well. A lot of you may have got the email that I sent out a couple of hours ago, just sort of saying, don't forget about today. Anybody else with their hands up for that bit? Nope. Okay, we'll move on. The next one is place. Notice the fact that the shape's changed to a square. So here we go. Culture, heritage and leisure. Access to affordable and inclusive cultural and leisure activities, services and amenities which celebrate the diverse histories of people in the community. Crikey, Wellingborough Library is the obvious for that one, isn't it, Sophie?
It is, yes. And what I was thinking there is the diversity of the volunteers that we have working with us in the library, who bring so much. And there's always an opportunity for more volunteering roles, really. So again, as part of, I think, linking in with the locality and the culture, and linking in with mental health and well-being, becoming a volunteer is a really powerful aspect, I think. So again, yes, there's lots that goes on here in the library. We've got a project at the moment where we're working through all of our local history books, and some of our volunteers are will be involved in that because they know far more than any of us in some cases. So yes, again, I think it's the volunteering aspect for us that really brings it home for us.
Definitely, I totally agree. And again, a lot of our volunteers, sorry, not our volunteers, the Wellingborough Eco Group volunteers get an awful lot out of it. The litter pickers, the Wombles, and even our repair cafe volunteers, because they get the opportunity to share something with other people. Would anybody else like to talk on that? Obviously, there's a big opportunity there for a community centre that I'm not, that is represented here, but also the Victoria Centre, that the manager, who is usually on these calls, is doing this service as we speak. Joe, oh, hello, Joe. Go on then.
Hello. Sorry, I was just saying, yeah, I mean, we've got all kinds of things going on up here on a weekly basis, groups and clubs and churches. We're hosting Ukrainian lessons at the moment, and Ukrainian, helping them with their application forms, visas, paperwork, things like that. We've got a lady that can speak English, Russian and Ukrainian, so she's translating between all the departments and government forms and things. And then obviously we've got your eco group and everything that you and Kat are doing, and Judy in the back room. And what you were saying about Sophie, about volunteers getting a lot out of volunteering. I mean, some of our volunteers, well, we'd be lost without all of our volunteers, but some of them were so anxious and shy when they first started, and we've had so many of them that have then gone on and been able to get full-time jobs because they've just built their confidence up by being around other people and not sitting at home, not having somebody to help them with their mental health and their physical health as well, just getting them out and about and getting involved in things. And they've gone on to volunteer for other places as well.
That's a good point.
So I wonder if do you have minutes from this meeting or feedback from the meeting? I was just wondering about that support for the Ukrainian families, whether that's something we could have access to in the library as a good signposting as well.
Yeah, I can send you some details about that, certainly. Yeah, there's English group, so there's English lessons for the Ukrainians here on a Tuesday, Hope Centre on a Thursday, and Victoria Centre on a Friday.
That should all be on the website, Sophie. If you go to wellingborough.org/Ukraine support, I think it might have a dash between Ukraine and support. Or just,
and if you go on, there's a Facebook group. Come on, Jonathan. Ukrainian.
That's on the page as well. So
yeah, Ukrainian guests and sponsors.
And if there's anything else to add to any of these pages that we do shout it through and we'll put it on there. It's as simple as that. It's a community resource. Okay, shall we move on? Simon was talking about transport earlier, as was Joe, about mobility, no buses. And obviously connectivity is something else. It's access to affordable and sustainable transport, which obviously isn't happening on the Kingsway at the moment. And communication networks. Don't forget that most of us, as we are today, communicate by mobile phones or Zoom or Teams or whatever this is, especially for those with disabilities. So a lot of people can't get out of their houses, as I've found out recently. And this just sort of gets you in the real world. I can see you smiling, Joe. The other thing about place is where you live.
Sorry, Jonathan. Sorry, just linking back to that one about the transport. Obviously, we have the Welly bus service in Wellingborough that can transport elderly and people with disabilities in wheelchairs. One of our volunteers uses it, a young guy, as well as our elderly that come here, and they go all over Wellingborough. And then you've also got, they do a medical car service as well for people that need assistance getting to appointments, and they stay with them and then bring them back. I think it's 50p a mile after a £20 charge for the year. And then the Welly bus, if you've got a bus pass, after £20 to join, it's free. They take you town, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, and they do out to villages as well to help people get out and about and socialise. But I don't think a lot of people don't know about it. And they're underfunded and under volunteers as well. They're always looking for people if you know anyone that wants to do a driving job.
That's true. And they've connected with the Wellingborough Eco Group with the swap shops. They've offered to bring people up to Glamis Hall on a Tuesday or to some of our other events. So it's a nice service. They do a lot for you as well at Glamis Hall, don't they, Joe? They bring
Yeah, well, I've currently got 2 buses sat out here waiting to take some of our clients home. There'll be a 3rd one along in a minute.
There you go.
So I was thinking at the library, when we issue our bus passes, because we issue and renew bus passes, it would be an opportunity again for us to promote the Welly bus, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes.
We do at times, but I think as part of what we do on a daily basis, it would be good if we do that promotion.
Yeah, and they're only over the road from yourselves as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyone who comes here for a referral and is then struggling with transport to get to the day centre, we tell them go straight to the library, get your bus pass, and then go and see the Welly bus and sign up, because then they've got it sussed then for the next 12 months. They haven't got to worry about paying anything. As long as they travel, I think it's between 9:30 and 4, it's completely free.
No, good point. Good point. Has anybody else got their hand up? Obviously, I can't see Judy, but of course, transport also means physical transport, getting on your bicycle, being able to use the cycleways, footpaths. Something that I've found fairly recently on my mobility scooter is that drop the curbs aren't necessarily everywhere. So you go down this long footpath and then have to reverse all the way back up again, because there's a giant curb at the end. So something that I'm trying to do with Access for All, another group that we're supporting and has got a page on the Wellingborough.org website, is locate these areas that need sorting, basically, as well as a lot of other stuff that they're doing. Another resource.
People not cutting hedges as well, Jonathan, for the paths.
I used to do that as part of my gardening company.
Yeah,
but
we have a problem. We pick a client up in wheelchair from just over the road, and the path is atrocious and the hedges are far too big, and people just don't look after their properties properly.
Yeah. From the council, I'm not picking on you, Joanne, but there are sort of, it used to be that the council used to come and tell you off and tell you to cut the hedge. I don't think that happens so much anymore.
You can report it on Fix My Street, and it's not us as the council, it's the unitary council that should hopefully do that kind of thing.
That's exactly it. No, that's what I was saying. I wasn't picking on you because I know it's not you. Anybody else would like to say anything? Joanne, you started off there. I heard you. No, she's shaking her head.
Yeah, me, I would. I've got my hand up.
You have, I've just seen it.
No, I just wanted to say that don't forget about electric bikes. I don't know whether that's what Jonathan was hinting at when he was asking me whether I got anything to say, but I bought myself an electric bike and I just think it's wonderful. You know, it just, I couldn't use an ordinary bike anymore, but the electric bike has sort of really extended what I can do, and I'd encourage anyone to try them. That's all.
Talking about bicycles, another resource for you to write down, Sophie, is Wellingborough Eco Group has an eco map. So if you go to wellingborougheecogroup.org.uk/map, there is a map of the entire town and all of its cycleways and cycle storage areas, as well as lots and lots of other services and environmentally friendly things to do. Shall I move on?
And just one other thing to mention is the umbrella fair in Northampton that can help with bicycles.
Bicycle recycle, yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that for absolutely years. So that's at the pavilion on the racecourse. If anybody wants to go there, very reasonably priced as well. So if you're feeling fit. Anybody else got their hands up? No. Right, I'll go on to space. So we've got housing, space and the environment. So affordable, secure, quality housing, a safe and clean surrounding environment, and well kept, accessible and inclusive public spaces for people of all ages. Something that Wellingborough Eco Group and Welly Wombles do is litter picking. The Welly Wombles have been supported very generously by Wellingborough Town Council. Just to let you know, Joanne, sorry, we have got the high-vis vests now printed with a Welly Womble on the back, and just underneath it says supported by Wellingborough Town Council with your logo on it. So if you do see your your logo walking about. Yes, we've done it on purpose, obviously. So that's new. That's only been coming out the last week or so. And tomorrow, from 10 till 12, we're having a litter pick at Croyland Gardens, if anybody wants to join it. Has anybody got anything else to say about housing? It is quite an issue in Wellingborough. We'll look about in a bit more. I shall move on then. Something that Simon was talking about, and I think others have touched on, is relationships and trust. Who do you talk to if you're sort of isolated? And the state of family, social and community relationships, and the impact of breakdown in trust on issues like crime. So something fairly huge in the town at the moment is the Knife Amnesty group. They've sort of picked up a lot of knives recently, and started in Wellingborough. They're now going all the way across the county, installing knife bins. So if somebody finds a knife, they can just drop it in a secure bin without having to take it to the police station that may or may not be open or may not be interested. Would anybody else like to add anything to that?
Whereabouts are these bins?
There's one at the Co-op on Olympic Way. There's one at St Mark's Church just off the Queensway. There's lots, basically. Again, it might be a nice thing to do to add to our eco map, Judy. I'm saying how I'm talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Where these locations are, because you're right, unless you know, you don't know, do you? I don't think you've got anything like that down at the library, have you, Sophie? No, she's shaking her head.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, you probably don't want that at the library, but there will be a couple of locations in the town centre. I've got a good contact with those. I'll see if they can provide me a list of where these places, and I'll add those to that eco map. Anybody else like to comment? Joe's put a hand up.
I've got a very good working relationship with 2 local PCSOs. So if anybody does have issues, I'm happy to share their details. They're coming to our family festival on the 23rd of July. So they'll be here to talk to the kids, show them the police vans and things. And yeah, they're pretty proactive. They're neighbourhood PCSOs, but they are very proactive with what they do if anybody needs a contact.
Fabulous. And that's a fabulous event. I think we had a stall with the eco group.
You did? I'm hoping you're having one this year.
I'm sure we will. And I'm sure Simon will bring his racing camels along too.
Fabulous. I've already picked a slot for you, so I need you to come and fill the tables.
Okay. You'll have to talk to me more about that on Tuesday, I think. Would anybody else like to add a comment? Okay.
Something I would just like to add, the knife crime that's going on around here at the moment is all targeted. It's gang related. It's gangs fighting gangs. It's not random people going up to random people and stabbing them.
No, that's a fair point. And it seems to be circulated around drugs an awful lot.
There's infighting in a couple of gangs at the moment.
Okay. Would anybody else like to comment on that before I change the slide? Okay, something that I believe Sophie was talking about is equal and fair opportunities, equality for everybody, regardless of ethnicity, religion, colour, age, ability, sexuality, gender, income, etc. Services and infrastructure in place to promote equality, equity and fairness. We've got Sophie, who I think has already sort of talked about that. You're more than welcome to, again, Sophie, of course. And if anybody else has got a comment, do jump in.
I suppose from the library perspective, it's a safe space here in terms of all sorts of groups that are happening. We have a group that takes place for young people, our manga and anime group, and as an offshoot that we're developing a group for young people who are they've requested the ability to come and not necessarily, I think it's being in a safe space where they're able to express their own individuality, and the anime and manga group has sort of started that off for them. It's really well attended, and I think through art as well, it's a way to be able to express yourself. So from something like that to I suppose enabling access to things like the internet on our computers, printing out documents, that some people may not have access to those sorts of things. So, you know, from the quite complex things to the everyday simple things, really. The library is offering that sort of space.
Okay, fabulous. And I know you've got your board game cafes on a Saturday. Can I just let Kim say goodbye to everybody? She's got a mini-me mindfulness thing on at 5 o'clock.
Oh, hello. I'm doing dance club today.
How are you? That's not what you said on here.
Yeah, I wear many hats. Yeah, I'm dance and theatre today. I was mini-me yesterday, so.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you. Sorry, I've got to shoot off early, but yeah, and thanks,
sorry.
Joe. I will connect.
Yeah, before you go, what's your best email address? I've got kimmallows@yahoo.co.uk.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just email that one. Yeah, that's fine. I'll get
Thank you.
that one. Thank you. I would like to try and get to have a stall at your event on the 23rd. Problem is, it's my last show day at the theatre school, so I'm just trying to rejuggle things. But fingers crossed, I can sort that out. All right. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Kim. See you later. Simon's had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So equality. There's two bits missing off the slide, actually, really. One around disability, the other one around sort of people like the ex-forces and things like that. And two of the key areas that we're actually looking at is the disability confident, trying to ensure that businesses are aware of disability confident and that people with disabilities shouldn't be discounted from employment opportunities and experience opportunities within business. And also, I've just signed the Armed Forces Covenant for North Northants Business Network to ensure that you know, we're able to wave the flag as well and encourage ex-service personnel into our business community, because you know, these guys and girls have obviously put their lives on the line for us, and you know, they might choose to come to business, so we want to encourage them to come in as well. So I think maybe two things you should actually add to your slide there, Jonathan, is actually around disability and again around ex-services and things like that as well. Yeah,
no, I agree. It does say ability on there, to be fair. I think that possibly is aimed to cover that. But on your point about the armed forces, of course, massively under sort of valued and almost forgotten about when they return to Civvy Street, dare I say it. And quite often one of the sort of poorest and sort of a large chunk of them do struggle in the community, do struggle to sort of fend for themselves, if you like, particularly if they've been injured in combat. So I totally agree with you there. Again, that is something that we can address and sort of try and offer services for them. Has anybody got any further sort of comments about what Simon's just said or about the slide? Again, like I say, I think all of the community centres that we've got here are fairly accessible. I went to the library, for instance, this morning in my massively oversized mobility scooter and was able to get up and down the lift. And that's on the second floor. Glamis is pretty much all on sort of ground level. Even the Victoria.
We have no steps. Unless you want to get on the stage, we're fully accessible.
I'll leave that to you, Joe. I think that one. But any other comments on that? No, I'll move on. Okay, and the last thing on these set of slides is voice and participation. I'll read the slide. Democratic governance and decision-making mechanisms in place to allow people to express themselves and to take either individual or collective action to improve local community and beyond. It's really refreshing, Joanne. You knew I was going to pick on you there, Joanne, to have you with us today, because it's nice. We do quite often get councillors join us and dip in. We've had a numerous amounts of councillors but actually Joanne is the deputy clerk, so she kind of does the work rather than just the talking. So would you like to break the habit of a lifetime, Joanne, and tell us a little bit about sort of what you're trying to do to engage with the local community?
So basically, I'm just trying to gather a lot of information about what is going on in the town and what services are available. Because one of the things we found out is that not everybody knows what is available to them. And the more we try and push it out, hopefully the more people will know, and these services will get used effectively and efficiently as such. We've got our app, obviously, and we've got our website as well. So any events or anything happening, you can send it to me, we'll get it on there. We also have a newsletter twice a year as well. So anything that goes on, we can put it into our newsletter. Yeah, so we're just trying to help people in the community know what there is in the community.
You've got 2 apps, and I must admit I'm slightly confused about both because I'm a bit of a dimbo, but the one where you say you can sort of get, anybody can send their details, does that include sort of community centres, voluntary groups like, for instance, Wellingborough Eco Group, and other sort of services, or is it just business? I thought it was just business.
No, we have different sections in the business directory. So there's the retail, obviously, there's the health and beauty, there's the estate agents and stuff, but there's also community section as well. So any community groups, we can add you in there, we'll get you a page up. If you've got anything going on, we can add it to that page. So when people download this app and go to the business directory, they go to communities, they can see what you're doing and what's about. Yeah, that's the Wellingborough Town Council app that's got that on. And then of course there's the Wellingborough Trails app, where we're trying to utilise it and have maps of the town so people can just go walk around the town and discover Wellingborough, basically. We've got a short walk at the moment on there, and I'm looking to evolve it more with more maps.
Fabulous, because that definitely is something that will aid people's well-being. I was trying to say the wrong thing, and mental health, I think is what I was trying to say.
Exactly, getting out there in the fresh air.
Yeah. Like, what do you have to do to get these apps? You just go to the town council website?
The apps, you can just go onto your app provider, Apple or the Google Play, and if you just search Wellingborough Town Council, they should both hopefully come up and you can download them. They're all free of charge.
Fabulous. And thank you for sharing that. That's really, really useful. As regards sort of democratic governance, something that could be levelled at sort of Northants Council, possibly Wellingborough Town Council too, dare I say. I think a lot of people possibly feel that there isn't a connect at the moment with people. Is there something that you're doing particularly amazing in Wellingborough that is a connection between yourselves and people?
I think that's what we're just trying to build, basically, because we're still new. We're not really quite sure what's out there at the moment, and there's 3 of us and we don't live in the Wellingborough town, so yeah, we're just trying to figure it all out ourselves.
Yeah, that's cool, and that's fantastic that you're here and sort of able to tell us about that. Good. Another thing with events and stuff, of course, is we've got an events page ourselves. It's got all sorts of different bits on there, including this forum, funnily enough, and Sophie's Board Game Cafe tomorrow, and the Family Fun Day at Bassex Park, so I'm not even sure still on, but all sorts of stuff. That's wellingborough.org/events. Simon, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, firstly, I've downloaded both the apps on my phone, so I found them very, very straightforward on the Apple Store by typing in Wellingborough Town, I think, and then both came up, so I've got them both here. What I will say, I'm a member, and we're members of the Wellingborough and East Northants Chamber of Commerce, and the Town Council have actually been speaking at some of the business events, which is fantastic to have that engagement from local business point of view. So just really want to congratulate the council really on that, because I think it is key that even at town level that businesses still can engage, even if they just know where they can or who to talk to about hanging up a banner about an event going on, whether it's NNC or whether it is the town council, because that's the one that normally comes to me. Who do I speak to about hanging a banner? And I'm like, oh, wow. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing engagement with Sally and that coming into the Chamber of Commerce, which has been great to have that engagement. So yeah, and we've got some bits we can send over that local businesses that you know, that they know what's aware of what we're doing. We can send it over, and you know, it's all free for them to engage with. So I'll send some bits over. My phone's going berserk, so I'm gonna go back on mute.
Okay. Would anybody else like to say about it? It's quite a tough one, isn't it? Voice and participation. I'm glad Joanne's here. Oh,
Yeah.
Joe's got a hand up.
Yeah, as Simon's brought up about where to hang banners, Joanne, who do we contact about using the banner sites? Is that borough or unitary?
It's the unitary.
It's unitary.
So yeah,
right,
there's
okay.
a form.
I need all.
If you want,
I've got a banner for
I
every
can
site.
send you over the form that we use to put up the banners, and then
Yes,
you send
please.
it over to Nathan Isom over in
Oh,
NNC.
Nathan's got it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. I think you've just spoken, Joe, haven't you? There we go. Right. And Simon has too. He's texting or whatever. Fabulous. So let's move on. Of course, it's all very well known what all this stuff is, but we need to know what it is. And the only way to know what it is to try and measure it. So the Co-op, like I say, who I work for, has developed something called a Wellbeing Index. It's an insight into what's important to local people in a local community, including Wellingborough. And it finds out what matters and what could be improved where they live and work. How do you think Wellingborough's done? Anybody like to sort of think about how Wellingborough's done, or should we cheat and move on and show you? Go on. I'll click on the next one. This is the scores on the doors. It's quite a complex chart, so let's hope you're using your big computer like me. Of those 9 subjects, if you like, categorized into 3 categories. So the little numbers under the big numbers are the national average. So you can see some we're doing quite well on in Wellingborough. Highlights are transport, mobility and connectivity, culture, heritage and leisure, and education and learning. There are some that we're not doing quite so well on, so you can pretty much see that yourself. If you wanted to do this yourself, so for instance, some of us may not live in central Wellingborough, that goes sort of all the way across to Meeing Robert Street and right the way over to the other side of the town, including sort of the Victoria sort of area and the library and that. Just go to coop.co.uk/wellbeing, type your postcode in and it comes up. But I thought this, probably looking at the middle of Wellingborough, is the fairest thing to do for everybody, because it sort of gives you a nice sort of idea of how the actual town is doing. If we move on from that slide, because this tells you in a much more basic sort of way the good, the bad and the ugly, or the good, the average and the poor, of how we're doing. So I've said we're doing good, if you like, on transport, mobility and connectivity, culture, heritage and leisure, education and learning. We're sort of about the national average, if you like, on economy, work and employment. There's obviously people doing better. Health is about average, and voice and participation does make me wonder if this was before the councils sort of changed, but is average. But it will become as no surprise to anybody that our housing is poor. The space and environment, like I say, I don't think things are looked after as much as they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And obviously crime, relationships, trust is our worst thing. That's sort of, like I say, in order of how we scored. Would anybody like to comment on that? It's just a snapshot of sort of most of Wellingborough, basically. But obviously you can find out your own details if you're in a slightly different part of town. Joe's got a hand up.
Yeah, so I'm just going to comment on the space and environment section.
Yeah.
For me, I've lived here my whole life, so I don't know any different than Wellingborough. And my concern at the moment is about green space being sold off for more houses already in housing estates, specifically around the Torrington area. They're selling bits of land at the moment.
Yeah, developing
and I think that's going to be a problem for people down the line, as we say, losing green spaces, not having places to go and walk and relax. And with the idea for the marina down at the embankment, I think again that's taking away. I know there's lots of positives for putting it there, but I don't think it's taking away a lot of space that people rely on for their mental and physical health.
Yeah, I think dare I say it, I'll probably get slapped down a little bit, but I think Wellingborough as a town and an area is particularly well served for spaces. If you go to a lot of towns,
we're a lot better than some of them, but I think we're starting to ruin ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And obviously the way it's kept at the moment is it could be better. Although
yeah, there's a lot of confusion when I speak to the guys that work for Norse a lot. They come up here to use our toilets. We've got a toilet that they're using in and out all day, and there's a lot of confusion at the moment that I don't think people realise that the guys that are now not Norse that are working for the council aren't responsible for all of the green spaces. Wellingborough Homes have now got responsibility for a lot of the green spaces on the estates as well. So people are complaining that only half of a grass area has been cut, but that's because they're not contracted to cut it anymore. And I don't think people know that change has happened.
yeah, no, I agree. I don't know why the slides are stuck for yourselves. They might move on in a second. Yeah, I think the council has recently changed the services, and of course the Wellingborough North is now Greatwell Homes or something. So that's
no, it's two separate services. Greatwell Homes is one thing, and then you've got the council the other.
Yeah, now that's actually now been taken over directly by Northampton Council rather than Wellingborough North. It was owned by the council in part anyway, of course, but hopefully there's a lot of words going around that they're going to improve things, and it marks the difference between us and Kettering, for instance. Like Kettering is completely very immaculate compared to ourselves, of course, but
Kettering have just got a whole new fleet of certainly the vans you see driving around with the mesh sides picking up the rubbish. Kettering have just got a whole new fleet. Their fleet, Kettering's fleet, has gone to Corby as a second-hand fleet, and we've got Corby's third-hand fleet.
Well, that's
as I understand it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that some of us were campaigning against, not necessarily sort of giving up our borough council, but there we go. Would anybody else like to comment on any of that and how Wellingborough is doing? And obviously, we do have, like, Joe is in a, what do you call it, Joe? An area of special sort of thing that the council are sort of focusing on. There's a number of councillors walking around and pointing at things recently. What's that called, Joe? My brain's disappeared. I'm talking to Joe from Glamis Hall rather than Joanne. Sorry, you're both looking at me.
Me?
Yeah, you, because you were. They've had a couple of meetings at Glamis Hall, haven't they? It's a special area of deprivation. It's been
they haven't had meetings here. They had a walk round at Christmas, 10th of December. They did a 2 or 3 hour walk round the estate. But I haven't heard anything since they did that. I couldn't attend. It was our Santa Claus Day.
Okay.
I'd have been dressed as a reindeer. But yeah, I haven't heard anything since they had the walk around. They met at St Mark's Church.
They came to the Christmas festival as well, I said.
Yeah, they popped in while they were on their walk round. Yeah, but I've not heard anything that came out of it.
Okay, that's a shame. Perhaps we need to chase them up. Anybody else like to add anything to the to this slide? Just looking. Okay, we're doing well. So existing solutions, there's Wellingborough Eco Map. I may have talked about that already. I've taken a lot of the stuff off of that just to show you the cycle paths, a couple of community centres, the library's on there, Swanspool House is on there. If you go to it itself, there's a lot more sort of commercial services, shops and stuff. But what does it have in the way of mental health services, and how do local services support community wellbeing? We have sort of talked a lot about this already, so there may not be anything else to add, because not all presentations go exactly in order. Would anybody else like to add anything to that?
We haven't mentioned the support that Mind provide.
Very good point. Would you like to speak up for them, Joe?
Well, they are. This is going to be embarrassing because I kind of know what they do, but I haven't used their services. I know that they were running I don't know if they still are, a drop-in cafe for people to go in and chat. And I believe you can go into the shop and talk to people at any point, and they can help you either themselves or point you in the direction of services that can assist.
I know they had a lot of services before COVID, and community services, it sort of disappeared.
There was also a grief group that met as well. I don't know if they're still meeting. It was a group for people who had lost their partners, husbands, wives, for support that side, because there wasn't anything for that in Wellingborough at one point.
Mind are opening a new thing in Northampton. I think it's this week, next week, a new sort of community drop-in cafe. I think that's possibly where they're concentrating their efforts to start things up. And as we've just discovered with the cleaning services, if you like, we tend to follow sort of behind sort of your Northamptons and Ketterings of this world. So hopefully, if that's a success in Northampton, they'll re-establish what they used to do in Wellingborough, because I know they used to have like you say, a drop-in cafe every day, and there we go, something which would be very valuable. Other services, of course, you've got the Daylight Centre. They offer services in the old library where people can pop in, have reasonable food, have a chat, just sort of be part of the community, particularly if you're homeless or very hard up. And there are a number of other services, including the Pork Pie Church, if anybody knows where that is, that they are going to do something they're calling Wellingborough Hub. They're changing the church all the way around. They're doing a nice entrance, and that will include a day cafe where people can pop in. Again, it's there to support people that are struggling either with mental health issues or financial issues. So there's a couple of services, and of course you've got the library, you've got the community centres that do offer services like that.
There's an organisation called Teen Challenge on Oxford Street as well. They're in the old Oxford Tavern pub.
They are indeed.
Yeah, and they support homeless and can give financial advice and provide meals as well.
So there's a few services there. Would anybody else like to add anything to what's available? Okay. Of course, what the Community Resilience Forum is all about is how we can work together, how we can share stuff. It's why the Wellingborough Organisations thing, website, whatever you want to call it, Twitter, Facebook, and all of our various forums, including the Community Resilience Forum, is about working with each other. So how can we help each other to make Wellingborough a better place to live and work for everybody? Would anybody like to stick their finger in the air on that one? Joe's got a hand up.
We need to just keep sharing everything. We know the council have now got these 2 apps we can use. Simon's got an app. We've got the Resilience Forum website. You've got the Wellingborough.org website. There's lots of places where we can share things. We just need to get out to people the apps and the websites so that people know to go to them. So I think we should, I don't know, I think maybe we need, I don't know, a leaflet that can go in the library, can go in the Welly bus, that people are going to see, one in the council offices, one in the Swansgate on their pillar, with some websites or phone numbers that people can contact to find out anything they need help with.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I'm sure like Sophie's of this world would support that. Simon, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, 100% what Joe's just said there, and I think it's beginning. We're beginning to work together in some form anyway. Because I mean, since we've been on this call, I've been writing loads of notes down. I've just done some bits and sent it over to Joanne, and I've just been WhatsApping Kim with some information as well. So half of what the problem that people have with forums and that is they're not specific in what they actually ask for. And I think the more specific you are, you know, we all know people, we're all willing to try and help in some capacity and things like that. So, you know, I suppose the words of advice I've got, if people can be specific around what they're looking for, you mentally note it or you write it down and, you know, produce a target board or whatever. And, you know, it's a case of really just understanding what people are looking for to be able to get, you know, some traction behind things. So, you know, I think, you know, things certainly I've seen, you know, meeting Kevin last week as well at the Victoria Centre was good, put a name to a face officially. So, you know, also been copied on emails this week with Marion as well. So I've managed to get Marion, I think, into the Wellingborough. I'm assuming it's Marion that's speaking at the Wellingborough Chamber of Commerce meeting in July about the environment. So I'm hoping it is anyway. I just know I've had an invite for it on the 15th of July. But so
to do that. So
I actually think, you know, we're moving forward already together. So
yeah, no, good point. Judy's got a hand up.
Yeah, I just wondered, have we got all these links? I mean, even if they're to mental health and that sort of thing on the Eco Group website, because although they're not directly sort of eco exactly, I mean, it's still a you know, interesting link that people might want to use. And on the map as well, although they're, you know, not exactly eco services, they're still probably of interest to people who are interested in eco services.
Yeah, exactly. We do share sort of this forum and some of the stuff that we do on the Eco Group. And talking about sort of sharing, we've got lots of outlets, including even a Community Resilience Forum Facebook group now, which was the One Wellingborough Plus Facebook group. So there's lots of opportunities for us to publicly share stuff. If you are a Facebook person, that's facebook.com/groups/Community Resilience Forum, all in one word. So we try and keep it simple. So do join that if you're not on it and share everything, because that's just about sort of community stuff. If somebody sticks something on there sort of trying to sell something, that sort of gets kicked off. Whereas the Wellingborough Forum group that we sort of also have, which is funnily enough the same, facebook.com groups Wellingborough Forum with all the slashes in the right place, does have a lot of people sort of advertising jobs, which is very important too, because obviously that is all about resilience. But so there's a few things there to look at. So yeah, I agree with Simon that we are doing good already. It's just like sometimes, like as Joe said, it'd be nice to take it to the next level by producing a leaflet, or possibly, I don't know about this, if this is a thing, Joe, like at the Glamis Summer Fair, having sort of an information stand or something where like Kim, for instance, can have her leaflets, or Simon can have something with his business stuff on. I think I'm very grateful for everybody being on here, but there's a lot of time sort of done in that. If we've got one stand with all of our stuff on, that's saving us an awful lot of time, but obviously helping us all at the same time. What do people think about that sort of idea? Is that something that would work, or is that something a bit sort of superfluous? You've all gone quiet. That's a first. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in an info stall at Glamis for the Summer Fete, yeah, I could do something with that, whether it's one stall or several stalls, but we would need a game with prizes to go with it, because it's a fun day. It's not an information day, like, which is why we like Simon and his giraffes.
Fantastic. Well, you'd be glad to know, Joe, I've just bought a load of second-hand ping pong balls, so there'll be another game there as well. So
yeah,
you guess what that is.
Yeah.
Simon.
We like game. It's if you can do a game and get the kids over and get them joining in, the parents will follow and then start talking, or the kids will notice something and tell their parents about it when they go home.
Fabulous. Well, I'm glad I bought me ping pong balls now. Sorry, Simon's had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, that's not me with the giraffes. I just want to make that quite clear as well. So when you mentioned it earlier, I was like, what are you on about? I have no...
You mean you don't have any giraffes?
I have plenty of giraffes, but they're normally a Cockney rhyming refrain for laughs, I think. So, yeah, I think the idea of a leaflet, you know, may be a good idea. You know, happy to talk to people and find out what people think, and if that's a way to go forward, then happy to see what can be done, and also help get them distributed as well. We've got some leaflets we actually do need to distribute around the town, I would say in September this year. So if you did decide to look at a combined leaflet of support for what's going on locally in the area, then we could actually help deliver that as part of getting our stuff. It's 2 bits of paper instead of one that's got to go through letterboxes. It would be mainly to businesses over residential. That's the only thing. But we can talk about it as we go forward, and happy to see what we can do to help.
That sounds like a very good idea. Okay, fabulous. And again, things like the town app and stuff like that could be added to that leaflet.
Yeah, we could do, I'm just thinking, like, on the leaflet, we could do sort of different categories. So mental health support, these people; physical support, these people; financial support, these people; housing support, so that people can look at it and say, right, I need help with this specific thing. What organisations in the town can help me with it?
Yeah, and again, that could be something that we could add to the website.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about something we could do to our website to add, like, as a local supports page.
Yeah, well, could be the two of the same thing. Do you know what I mean? The Ukraine support one, that was I don't know, Heather sort of requested that from Heather, one of the trustees at Glamis sort of requested that, and we've done it, and we talked about it on the last Community Resilience Forum, of course. Okay, so there's an idea. Perhaps what I'll do, if you'd like me to, is sort of look at a leaflet and how that would look, share it with everybody on the email and WhatsApp groups, and then you can sort of see what it is, and we can work out something between us. Good. Okay. I think we've just basically covered that one. So how do we share what we're doing with others? Fantastic. You'd be glad to know that almost perfect timing, because it gives us those couple of minutes just to sort of talk to everybody. Are we back on? We are back on. Fabulous. There you all are. We've had a couple of people leave us, which is fine. Would anybody else like to add anything to that? We've talked about cooperation. We've talked about sort of sharing. Most of the things that were on the agenda, I think we've covered. Would anybody like to talk about things that they're doing? I think we may have covered that already, of course.
Yeah, Jonathan, I've got my hand up. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
oh yeah, no, sorry.
That's all right. One of the things that we've been throwing around a few people recently around the subject of mental health is to produce a podcast, a regular podcast conversation around people that actually are willing to come and share the challenges that they face and how they've overcome those challenges. I'm beginning to coordinate it now. I've got a trustee of mine actually over in Kettering who's going to be joining the conversation, another Kettering-based business, and one in Wellingborough. So I think it's really, the idea is really to show that, yeah, we all face challenges and things like this, but how we actually overcoming problems and actually talk publicly about this topic, because it is such a key thing that people just don't know what to do, who to turn to or whatever. And although we're a group of people, we're not all experts, but we're just saying what we think is the right way. Yeah, just get the conversation flowing really still. So hopefully we'll have it off the ground. I would like to think I'm gonna say July, mid-July. But yeah, it'll be a podcast channel just for local people just to tune into if they want to listen to it, but also local people sharing, what's going on in their lives and how they've overcome difficulties and things like that. So
that'd be a really good thing for us to share as well. Yeah, thank you for that. Do you have anything to do in Kettering? Obviously, we're talking about Kettering with Johnny's Happy Place. I think it's the Rockingham Road. Obviously,
yeah, little bit. I met Charlotte and Denise a couple of years ago. The business awards, they actually had the proceeds donated to them a couple of years ago, actually. So we really got quite close to some of the work they were doing.
Yeah.
Familiar with the story as well of where Johnny's Happy Place has come from. So yeah, is the answer. But I mean, we're going back to 2018, I think. So don't know a great deal now, but obviously youth works and that are out in the same building. So
yeah, no, I've had a few meetings and know the few of the people up there working that. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much done, people, unless anybody else would like to add. Jo's frozen anyway, so I don't know if she's swapped herself with the photo. Oh no, she's frozen on one but not the other. So, a couple of things to do.
Anything.
I don't know, you're frozen on one of my devices but not the other, so perhaps that's me. Anywho, all I raised to say, we've come to the end of our hour and a half. We've got a couple of things to do there. Do keep on talking to each other and sharing like you do, Simon, and others on the WhatsApp and the email groups. If you wanted to share by email, all you got to do is tap in community@wellingborough.org, and that will come through to all of us that's on here. And I've added a few more people to that that have signed up for these community resilience forums. It's a good, easy way of sharing with like-minded people. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the last Friday afternoon of June. Would you believe already? Where's the year gone already? So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you soon.
See you Tuesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you later,
Bye.
Joe.
see you soon.
Thank you.